Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Forest Lake Morning Show. I am Tyler.
I'm Brendan.
And we have quite a big amount of information for you this week because so much has been going on in the music industry.
Yeah, it's going to be a packed episode.
It is going to be a packed episode. But before we jump into what's happening, let's give the fans, let's give the people a little bit of an update as far as what's going on with Forest Lake. What recent developments have happened this week for the band?
A lot. Yeah, and I think if you listen to our previous episode, we lost everything. We lost our drives, all of our music and everything. So a little update, we got our drive back, our OneDrive.
Yeah.
It has been fully recovered, got all the music back, all the data. So that is very exciting. That's awesome. So you want to tell them about the music front though?
Yeah, with relation to the drive and what happened in the past 24 hours.
Yeah.
So we got the drive back and we spent the greater half of this week having had it back, getting the main session that we needed to send to our mix engineer, Daniela Rivera, who has the session right now. So our song is in the process of getting mixed. So there is new music on the way. It is coming. It's still not exciting. What's that?
It's exciting.
It's very exciting. We are excited because the song that we sent her that we're going to release as a single, we wrote it on 5/29/22. So it's been 4 months and 17 days now.
Yep.
So it's kind of like we feel free, if you will, to get that off our hands because we put a lot of hours into it.
Yes.
But for us, it's just on to the next one.
It is.
It's like just not over, even though that feels good to get that weight off the shoulder. We got more coming. So that's what's going on with us in the past 24 hours. In fact, it's funny because yesterday, we told her we were sending it to her and we were still recording tiny little things like...
Yeah, it always comes down to the last minute.
Right before we finished.
It's not procrastination either. It's just you're always trying to edit things, make things better.
And yesterday we added something
we added,
needed.
We added a lot.
Vocally, we added something that it really did need.
It's always a little sketchy too, like adding stuff at the very last minute and then she mixes it and it's done. Like you can't change it after that point. Because it's like, well, is this the right thing to add? Like,
yeah, because usually we'll sit on it, we'll listen to it, see if it sounds good or not over time. But this one, we just did it and sent it. So we'll see what happens, and we'll keep you guys updated with that. But it still is going to be a bit of a process before it actually gets released, just with mixing, mastering, and time to get ready for the actual marketing of it.
Yep.
All right, let's jump into it. So I want to start off this week, starting off with some good news, because there is some relatively negative things that we're going to talk about this week in the music industry. But some really great news as it pertains to women in the industry. One of which, big shout out, Julie Greenwald, who up until this week, I had no idea who she was, but we're going to give a big clap of the hands to Julie Greenwald because Julie Greenwald is apparently and well-deserved to be a respected music executive. From everything I've read about her.
She's been killing it.
She has been killing it. So I guess we should probably say who Julie Greenwald is.
That would help.
If Julie Greenwald, if you're watching this, we're going to just mention that Julie Greenwald was promoted to jointly lead Atlantic Records right now with a guy named Craig Kallman. Julie, from everything I've read online, has like incredible, I don't know if stature is the right word, but people speak very highly of her as being a visionary, as being somebody who's a mentor, fearless leader, incredible talent. She had her hands in the development of some of our favorite artists. We're talking Coldplay, me specifically 21 Pilots, Charlie Puth, Lizzo, who's been blowing up recently.
Well, she's kind of been all over too, like a bunch of different records or record labels. I think she started with Def Jam, right?
She did start with Def Jam.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then actually by, I think 20, so she's been with Atlantic for the past 18 years. But when she started with Def Jam in 1992, so she's been in the industry for a long time. She's earned her keep. She actually worked her way up to a very high position in Def Jam by 2002 that only one of two other women have done. So she's nobody to not know, and she certainly is just seemingly, she's probably a really, I would assume, down-to-earth person. Probably just super cool.
Yeah, for sure.
I would love to know what other people think of her. If we ever get the chance to meet her, it'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
But congrats to Julie Greenwald. She also is a 5-time Billboard Woman in Music Executive of the Year. award winner.
Yeah, I think she won a couple of those, right?
She won 5 of them.
5.
The most to do it.
Oof. That's crazy.
Now, Billboard is like the gold standard of ratings. You know, when you're talking about what's on the charts, some power rankings or whatever, you know, you could put them up there with Rolling Stone as far as considering them a credible source.
Sure.
And they gave her the award 5 times. So
5 times.
she's a big deal. Definitely check it out. Woman in Music is something to always be highlighted, just because I think I don't know how to say that. I don't know how to say it, but it's very important to talk about women in the industry, because I would assume it's male dominated, but then I don't know the stats, so I don't want to go into that. But nonetheless, Julie Greenwald, just as a person, awesome. So keep doing good things, Julie, and maybe you'll meet Forrest Lake one day.
Why'd you phrase it like that? It's more like maybe we'll meet her.
Maybe we'll meet you. Well, you know, just I don't know. Exactly. Maybe we will meet her. That's just confidence in me and you, man.
You're like, maybe she'll be lucky enough to meet us one day.
You got to be confident in this project we got on. That's what it is. Okay, next up.
What do we got?
We're talking Grammys. Why are we talking Grammys? You want to preface this one a little bit? What's going on?
Shit's going down.
Shit's going down.
Yeah.
What kind of shit?
So everyone's kind of, I don't want to say everyone, but there are certain artists who are boycotting the Grammys and boycotting nominations for their music in the Grammys. Specifically Drake and The Weeknd, and also Bruno Mars.
Right.
So I think that's kind of interesting. So you can give a little more detail about Drake and The Weeknd, but I thought it was kind of, is it cool?
I think boycott the Grammys?
To boycott, I guess, like your album being nominated.
Are you asking?
I don't know how I feel about that.
Are you asking if being nominated is cool? Because if you're gonna ask me, that's fucking cool.
Withdrawing.
Oh, withdrawing.
Like saying, you know what? I don't even want to be nominated. I know it's that good. I know everyone loves it. I don't even want to be nominated.
Well, you got to understand, these 2 individuals or 3 with Bruno Mars, they've already won multiple Grammys.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many Weeknd's won. I know Drake's won plenty. Bruno's won plenty. So maybe it's one of those things where Grammys don't even mean the same thing to them, especially for the reasons that they have to boycott them. So I think nominations did just come out. That's why this is current news.
Right. Well, the Grammys aren't until February.
Yeah, February 5th. This coming year, it'll be hosted by Trevor Noah. I don't know where it's at, but interesting why these 2 individuals, Drake and The Weeknd specifically, have boycotted the Grammys. So Drake, his dates back to, I think, 2017 when Hotline Bling dropped. Hotline Bling, great song. It's catchy. Blew up. Was nominated for 2 categories, Best Rap Performance and also Best Rap Song. And he won both of them. But Drake said, and I think do I have a quote here from what he said? That's for The Weeknd. So we'll get to The Weeknd in a minute. But Drake basically said he was more or less offended because he wasn't nominated in any other categories than rap. So he felt pigeonholed by the Grammys, that they're only categorizing him as a rap artist and keeping him to that. Essentially, it sounds kind of cocky that he thinks he should be in more categories.
Like what other, like R&B or something, or pop?
Probably pop or best whatever, something. Song of the year, just a general song of the year.
Oh, not just genres, just different.
Yeah, so they
gotcha.
They restricted him with that to just those genres, and he felt disrespected by it, and that's where his beef is. And then I'm sure you start to see with The Weeknd. The Weeknd has been quoted as saying, "Because of secret committees, I will no longer allow my label to submit my music." So he's basically taking a shot at the voting process. He doesn't think it's fair because when he dropped Blinding Lights, it was snubbed in a number of categories. I think completely, actually.
And that was a huge record.
It was a complete snub. Yeah, they didn't nominate him at all. And I understand, that's a great song. If you've heard it, you obviously probably have heard it. It's a bop and a half.
Yeah.
And he got snubbed. And he said something about it. So now you have all these artists and other artists come up to their defense, like Childish Gambino came out and said, gave his support for it. And that's the thing. Like, we couldn't imagine that because we would think winning a Grammy, let alone multiple Grammys, like you wouldn't even, why would you ever boycott that?
how do you think the election process goes? Do you think it's an actual, like, the people take it all?
Well,
or is there some, like, I don't know. I feel like no election is ever truly fair.
Yeah, what was the episode we talked about this already for? Not the Grammys, but it was something we were talking about the voting. And
did we?
Yeah, I can't remember. You don't remember that when we talked about how... Was it something with Billboard?
Oh, that could have been. Yeah, I think we did touch on that a little bit.
But yeah, basically it was that...
I'm curious, though.
There was like a secret committee. Oh, the VMAs. When we had the VMAs. The VMAs does have a secret committee. I mean, I think it's proven that there's a secret committee. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Grammys have a secret committee. If it's not a true, fair voting process. At the same time, because we know people like our mix engineer who has connections to submissions for the Grammys and stuff. I don't want to say things that aren't true, and I don't want to speak on things that I don't know very well of.
I don't know. So I'm sure like people's votes have some weight, but then I also feel like, you know, that is taken into consideration and then voted on by like the execs, the critics, like people who actually like, I don't know, get really in depth with this stuff.
Okay, let's address this real quick. We mentioned the VMAs have a secret committee because it's a supposed people vote. Like, oh, the people voted for this. Well, what do you do if not enough people vote? Or what do you do if you have the wrong people voting? Like you have all Taylor Swift fans vote. It's a little biased. So I could see a secret committee being necessary.
Secret committee. With
the Grammys, I mean, I don't know why you're calling it a secret committee because there's already some committee that's not a by the people thing. There's elected people that are voting for those Grammys to be winners. Now, who those people are, maybe they're biased too. I don't know. Maybe Drake, maybe The Weeknd, they got some inside scoop. They've been there, they've done it, they know.
Yeah, I want to know. I want to know now.
I guess what we'll have to do is we'll have to get there first and find out and say...
Maybe Drake will be lucky enough to meet us.
Yeah, maybe
are you going to say that?
If Drake's ever lucky enough to meet Forrest Lake, you know, then we'll say, hey man, what's really going on with these Grammys? Although I'll tell you what, unless I really... This is so far thinking, and this is just like, you know, wishful thinking, but like, I don't think we would ever boycott the Grammys. I mean, just tossing that idea out there that we would have the opportunity to go or be nominated.
That's going to come back and bite us in the butt.
No. Why? Because we're like the biggest boycotties of the Grammys or something? No, I just don't know why you would do that. It's such a well-respected award. So many people strive for that. Like, that's like the goal.
Yep.
You know, to have a Grammy and throw that on the shelf.
Yeah, so I think it was last year Drake said that he was pulling his nominations. He told his label to pull them. Ironically, he still won Grammys last year. But
yeah, so this is the second year straight that The Weeknd and Drake have boycotted the Grammys. So we'll see what they continue to do in the future. I honestly don't think Drake's recent release was that great anyway, if that was what was nominated or could be nominated.
Yep.
So Drake, I hate to say it, but I don't think we're gonna miss you at the Grammys, bud.
Oh,
I'm just gonna say, saying it, man. I look up to the Grammys. I don't know. I wouldn't boycott him if I was him, but he has more Grammys than we do, so I shouldn't say that. Anyway,
let's talk Blink-182.
Whoa, back it up before we get to Blink-182 because I'm excited to talk about Blink-182.
Yeah, so am I.
We have to shout out a small town. It's not really a small town, but we have to shout out the town out of Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh boy.
What you could call a suburb of Cleveland, Ohio. There's a city called Berea. Shout out to Berea, Ohio, because Berea has Baldwin Wallace
College of Music? Or something like that. Is it a College of Music?
Well,
this is how much we know.
What is it first? Is it a college or is it a university? Baldwin Wallace University? Right. Baldwin Wallace College.
I'm not sure. But Baldwin Wallace has a great music program, and I think that's something we'll kind of dive into next week. Like,
should you
colleges.
go to music schools?
Yeah,
we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, there's plenty of content there for us.
But just as a preface, because it is current this week, Billboard released an article on the top schools for music business specifically, not music performance. And on the list is Baldwin Wallace. Now, The list is in alphabetical order. It's not a ranked system. They put in the article that category points. Is that a word? Categorical. That's not a word.
Categorical. I mean, it sounds good.
It did sound kind of cool.
Go with it.
Data points for like these schools individually are up to the student to find as he goes through what's called let's look here. It's called they have to sift through other sources like through college applications and whatever. Then there's like rankings within that when they look among these schools. But basically, we're talking Baldwin Wallace is up there with Berklee College of Music. Full Sail made it on the list. Abbey Road Institute out of London. There's also a Berklee College of Spain or something. I mean, there's some world-renowned schools on this list.
Right.
And when you look at it, you're like,
Baldwin Wallace, Ohio? Like what?
Berea, Ohio?
Yeah.
What the...
Shout out to them, though.
Shout out to Berea, Ohio.
If you're in that area, go check it out.
Shout out to them. So we'll talk about that more next week. All right, Blink-182.
Let's go.
This might be, I mean, aside from what we're about to talk to next to probably wrap up this episode, this might be the biggest news of the week because I don't like to be on social media, but the one thing I saw heavily this week was primarily a bunch of females that I follow posting
males
about
too.
Males too.
Yeah.
And I'll get into how I fit into that category of this pop punk band. But they were posting about the recent news that Blink-182 is going on a world tour, a 71-show world tour from 2023 to 2024. It's going to last just under a year, and they have a number of supporting acts. But Tom DeLonge, the singer, or DeLonge,
I think.
He has come back to the band. They just released a song called Edging, their first release in 10 years. It's actually pretty good.
You know why it's good? I mean, besides like the great songwriting and production and everything.
Yeah.
The mix.
The mix?
You know who mixed it?
Serban-Gania. Yeah, I fucking knew you were going to say, dude. I knew
Serban-Gania.
You wouldn't have said that if it wasn't a Serban-Gania mix. There's only a couple times that you bring up anything about mixing is in that tone, and it's if it's a Serban-Gania mix.
Serban mix.
So he did Edging?
He did Edging.
Look at you with your little research.
Sounds great,
already.
Man.
Little Serban-Gania fanboy over here.
Dude, Serban's mixes sound incredible. They're very good.
Yeah, the song, when I listened to it, I was like, damn, this is good. So, okay, tell me a little bit about your fandom with Blink-182, if there is one, your history of knowing them.
Yeah, I don't think it's really a fandom, but
Okay.
I feel like our generation grew up listening to Blink.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was kind of our childhood music. At least for me, it was like just listening to Blink around the house. So you just kind of grew up with them. You're like, you have that little like punk attitude, you know. So I have a soft spot for them.
So, what do you mean soft spot? Like you
Soft, like I like them.
Like you like them?
Yeah,
I
go see
don't
them.
go out of your way to listen to them.
Probably not. No, but I'd go see them in concert.
See, I would too, and I don't think I would ever have believed I would up until literally this week.
It'd be cool to see Travis Barker live.
Do you remember the first time you feel like you grew up with them? Because I have a totally different growing up with the understanding of Blink-182.
Oh, really? Yeah, I was like Blink-182, Simple Plan.
I see. I don't even know who Simple Plan is.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Obviously, Blink-182 has hits, right? We're talking Adam's Song, All the Small Things. What's My Name Again?
It's Tyler.
I Miss You is another song. What's that?
What? Moving on.
I forget what you said. But anyway, so you've heard these hits over the years. They're a band from the late 90s. When they released Enema of the State, which was probably their biggest release, it sold 15 million copies worldwide that year, which has the songs, all the small things. What's My Name Again? I was born in 97, okay? So my first exposure to Blink-182 came what I think was about 2004, because my oldest brother at the time was a freshman in high school. Now, I believe that I didn't grow up with Blink-182, but my brother did. And maybe he was still just like 2 or 3 years removed from like actually growing up in prime time Blink-182. Like imagine being in high school, 1999, and Blink-182 drops this. You're probably, it's like the coolest shit you ever heard.
Yeah, I mean, they were huge in the mid-2000s.
You're right.
So you're saying like 2004, that was like prime Blink.
Yeah, so then they dropped 2 more albums that became very commercially successful. So it makes sense that my brother caught them while they were still in their prime, right? I think Enema of the State was their first album. Maybe they did some projects before, but you're right. That from like 1999 to 2004, prime time.
Yeah.
So 2004, my oldest brother, he's like freshman, and he has all these CDs, right? And there's this one CD, Enema of the State, which I didn't know that was the name of it, but it's a very iconic album cover. It's like just that nurse with the glove, and she's very chesty. Yeah. And okay, we're talking 2004, so I didn't even hear any of these songs on this album, but I remember 2004 makes me 7 years old. That's a little prepubescent, but I'll tell you what, when I was looking at that thing, that album cover, that was like the first time I had that weird feeling. You know what I mean? When you're like young,
and you have Blink-182 to thank.
What?
You have Blink-182 to thank.
Yeah, I did. They gave me my first feeling of like, not maturity, but hormones from that album cover. I'm just gonna say I'm not ashamed to say it. That girl was chesty, and I was a young boy, and I was like, why do I feel weird? You know what I mean? And it was because of that album cover. So that's my first exposure to Blink-182. From then on, I didn't really grow up listening to them. I never got into pop punk. And then I started listening to them recently because of this tour that they're going on, and I'm seeing people post about it. And I'm like, man, pop punk's good, right? Machine Gun Kelly just came out. He transitioned from rap to pop punk, and it's been commercially successful for him, and he's really good at it. So it's like becoming cool.
Blink has like their own style too, and
they do.
I think Tom DeLonge's gotten a lot of like memes thrown at him for his voice,
for
just kind of the way
how nasally he is.
I don't think it's like a nasal
Was
thing.
it like, where are you?
Yeah, exactly.
There's a meme going around with that one.
Yeah, so it's funny.
Now, I will say, dude, so we're talking about like these songs being good songs. That song is good. They have this, that's called I Miss You, that one.
Yeah, that's such a good song.
It's good. And then there's this harmony in that end half of that song that they repeat twice. It's so good. It's like, da 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 da. It's like, oh my God, that's so cool. And you understand they do it again, and you're like, damn, that's a really, like the songwriting is really good.
It's great.
And there's something about...
There's just so many hooks happening.
Why does pop punk like make people... The angst of it, you know, the edginess that gives like people the... There's something about it that makes you feel like...
Feels a little wrong listening to it, you know?
Does it?
I think so. Like anything punk, I mean, unless like you grew up with it and... Or not like grew up, but like you're just a hardcore punk person. Like, I don't know. It is kind of angst music.
Yeah. But
then you have the pop aspect where it's very melodic. It's very kind of dialed back. It's not like screaming in your face like some of the other punk bands.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they caught on. People could resonate with that.
So it's probably that pop touch to it.
Yeah, I think so.
That just gives it the like quirky, like sing-alongable, but you're still got like a little bit of edge and angst, and it takes you... If you listen to any Blink-182, which wasn't even popular when I was in high school, it makes me feel like I'm in high school.
100%.
Which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
So big news coming out of that for Blink-182. Go check out their new song, Edging, streaming everywhere.
Mixed by Serbinia.
Mixed by Serbinia. They are playing here in Tampa.
Are they?
July 10th, 2023 at Amelia Arena. Amelia Center.
Emily.
Are you serious?
I'm pretty sure it's the Emily Arena.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Emily?
Emily. Yeah.
They spell it like Amelia or something.
Well, you also said it was Dunedin for how long when it's Dunedin.
You don't have to put me on blast right now.
Moving on. What else we got?
Moving on. Pronunciation doesn't matter.
Kanye West.
Well, no. Oh, I got to mention real quick too, just for the people, because we are Florida Clevelanders. They are playing in Cleveland May 16, 2023. So get your tickets when they are available.
Where are they playing there?
Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, the Gun Arena.
The Q.
Or the Q, yeah. Whatever you want to call it. Are we going to see Blink-182? Do we go see him?
I'm going.
You're going?
I'll go.
I'll go see him. It's probably going to be a good show.
Be a great show.
It's going to be a good show. I think that drummer's still with one of the Kardashians too, right? Travis Barker.
Oh, I forgot about that.
He's like the only one that...
Yeah.
His solo career since leaving the band, he went on to do great things with other people.
Yeah. Recently too. He's had a lot of good stuff.
I know.
He just played with the Foo Fighters.
He did. He helped Machine Gun Kelly on a lot of records and a lot of the... Hey, shout out to pop punk, man. You know, pop punk's coming back. And I don't even like it that much, but it's here. It's not going anywhere. But yeah, so we can move on now.
Yeah. What do we got?
Kanye West, who actually changed his name to Ye. He's technically legally just Ye.
I think that was his nickname. He had that documentary on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I think they used to call him that.
Yeah, well, now it's officially his name. So it's not actually Kanye West. I didn't know that.
It's just Ye. That's it? Just Ye.
Just Ye. I don't know if he added a last name. I think you have to have a last name. Maybe he just put like an empty space bar. So it's just Ye. You know what I mean? Like if they had to.
He legally changed his name to that?
Yes. If you type it up on Google, if you type in Kanye West, it comes up YE. More power to him. That's not even what we're here to talk about. Kanye West has always been an iconic figure. He's a billionaire. He has really good music in the hip hop rap historical category. And he created a brand of Yeezy, which is very pop culture influential, I guess, if that's a good way of putting it. But there are some things that Kanye West has been coming under fire for.
Yeah, what happened?
This isn't a show about politics. This isn't a show about religion. This is a show about music. We are two music stooges who just like music and try to create music and have fun and talk about music that we think is worth talking about. At the same time, because he is a very influential music figure in the industry, I think it's worth touching about just in case anyone doesn't know some of the things that he said, but also just kind of playful banter, I guess, with the kind of times that we live in nowadays. So Kanye West, one of the biggest things that happened this past week was a tweet that he put out, which I think has since been taken down. And I'm not sure if
by Elon Musk.
By Elon Musk, who bought Twitter like officially like the day or two before.
Yeah, that's funny.
And he's buying Twitter to influence freedom of speech, right? Like that's the irony.
Right, which is it's ironic because the day after he buys it,
Kanye West
coming on like, hey, we're gonna do free speech. Kanye comes on and does his thing, and I think he removes it.
Yeah, so I think there's reports that Elon actually reached out to Kanye West specifically. Also reports that Kanye West was restricted access from his Twitter and Instagram account. I don't know if he still has access to those or not. But I do have the actual quoted tweet here. So again, this isn't about religion, this isn't about politics, and we're not getting into our opinions about those, but we just are talking about it from the perspective of two people who like music and are talking about somebody who's a big figure in the industry. Kanye West on Twitter said, quote, "I'm going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. The funny thing is, I can't be anti-Semitic because black people are actually Jew also," end quote. There was a little bit more, I think, with the quote, and then there's some involvement on Instagram where he posted pictures of Diddy's text conversations, where he's trying to convince him that he's being taken advantage of by Jewish people. Just so you guys are aware, if you're not already, DEFCON 3 is actually a reference to DEF CON, is what he's trying to say. I don't know if he intentionally said death or not, or if he just may have not known that it's called DEF CON, DEFCON.
Right.
DEF CON is a military readiness alert system used by the U.S. military, where one is extreme alert for military preparedness. I think it's more so defense readiness if there's a threat. 5 is more extreme peace, neutrality. So if you're saying DEFCON 3, you're about in the mid range, but then you're using the word death and you're saying death with the word Jews, right? So
I can see that. That's kind of easy to mix up, I guess.
Well, I mean, it's not something to accidentally just mix up because it's super anti-Semitic. Whether he's saying, if he's using DEFCON in the relation of the definition of DEFCON, of being military prepared for a threat, it's certainly anti-Semitic because he's saying it that he's doing it on Jewish people. So is he saying that Jewish people should be ready for something, or is he preparing for some attack by Jewish people? It's hard to say.
I'm not understanding that quote really. But then he went on to Tucker Carlson, and did he publicly apologize or something on there, or just explained what he meant or something like that? Yeah.
So this is where we got to be careful, because not politics. Tucker Carlson is a Fox reporter on TV. I'm pretty sure he's very conservative, very right wing, and he had Kanye on because Kanye, I think, is putting out all these comments and doing all these things that I don't know, but he seems to be very on the right as well, very conservative, whatever the case. So it makes sense that Tucker Carlson had him on a show. Now, the Tucker Carlson importance here is that it came out from that interview that Fox News actually redacted the interview, where they took out.
Oh, did they really?
They took out even more pieces of Kanye expressing anti-Semitism in the interview, so that it kind of fit some sort of, I don't want to say agenda, but it fit like a better narrative for them to release to the people on the news channel. So now we're looking at more things outside of just Twitter, not just one single tweet, but also in an interview and potentially elsewhere. Now, my opinion on this is just that it's a concern because you have Kanye, who is such an influential artist, individual, to who knows how many people. So freedom of speech, well-deserved, well-needed, should be protected. And it's a big thing nowadays because the internet is a place where you can say whatever you want and do whatever you want. But it's also like drawing the line, because now people are getting canceled or they're getting stuff restricted, and they feel like they can't do that. With this dude, I feel like you got to be careful, because if you have somebody who has a following like that can be taken so many ways by so many people,
right,
in a very dangerous way.
Yeah,
because it's already, anti-Semitism is a very big thing in the world right now, and it's not just to highlight that, because there are so many people in the world that are facing injustice around the world, and but just in this touching relationship of music.
I remember seeing a little clip of that interview with Tucker, and Kanye he said something. He was talking about someone, and he goes, "I don't see him coming. He sees me coming." And then there's like this pause, and he goes, "I don't know what that means. It just sounded cool."
Really?
And they both start laughing. I'm like, what is happening here?
Now, I reached out to one of my friends who I just wanted a little bit more perspective on what he thought about Kanye and everything that's been going on. He said he more or less doesn't think Kanye isn't aware of what he's doing, because some people are saying, "Oh man, maybe Kanye is like mentally having some like instability right now, and maybe doesn't even really, like, something could be going on." He more so highlighted some points that, like, if you look back historically, Kanye has like done these controversial things before like some big release, or to like get hype for something in a marketing way. Right? They say there's no such thing as bad publicity.
That's interesting.
I don't know what your take is on that.
I mean, I guess we'll find out.
Well, I guess we'll find out. But here's you know what's funny? Just 2 days ago, I think Chase Bank, who handled all the finances for the Yeezy brand, gave him till November to find another bank.
Oh, really?
Chase Bank has cut ties with Kanye amid the controversy of anti-Semitism remarks. So this is a serious thing. Like, this isn't something to be taken lightly, and a lot of people are pissed. A lot of people in the music industry came out. I mean, even Ryan Tedder, somebody we look up to, we never met, but I feel like we would trust anything Ryan Tedder says, just from a music standpoint. But it's like, how do you start to be a human through the music? I don't know if that sounds cheesy, but you know what I'm saying? Like, we're these big time celebrities. We have these platforms. We see it in sports too, where you can speak out and influence people to do good in the world, but then also not do good. And to like kind of humanize it, for us, it's weird because we're just a music podcast. We just try to talk about music things. But these things can be real and have serious harm.
Yeah.
So
and slightly like going back to the whole Elon thing, it'll be interesting to see what he does in the future. If he's like a total free speech platform, and he like things like this can, like, that's the whole point of the platform, is things like this can be put out there with no repercussions, no nothing.
Let me ask you, what do you think of that? Where do you draw the line? How do you draw the line between people being able to say what they want?
I say what you want. Say what you want. If the viewers don't like it, don't watch it.
Even in the case of this?
Kind of, yeah. Like, if you don't like it, don't follow Kanye. You know, don't. That's just kind of how, like,
I think that's a bad
view
take,
it.
dude. Wait,
Like,
so
like, free speech, people are going to say what they want either
Right.
way. And I get, like, the whole Elon thing, what he's trying to do. It makes sense.
what
but-
if? So then, is free speech also mean like you can say what? Like, if you make a threat, is that still considered free speech?
I don't know where the line is on that.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
so it's like, where do you draw the line?
Yeah, it gets a little hairy.
Because
For
that is a
sure.
bit of a threat. I'm going death con 3 on Jewish people. I mean, that could be interpreted so many ways. But then at the same time, if you do start restricting people, where do you draw the line between what's okay, what's not okay?
Yeah.
And then are people being oppressed? I mean, it's like we live in a terrible time for as great of a time we live in, where so many people have a voice and so many people can hear that voice. And by that, I mean on the internet.
Well, that's above our pay grade for the Forest Lake Morning Show.
It is above our pay grade, but I think it's very interesting. It is something to be aware of because potentially we may have a platform one day. I mean, this is a platform, this podcast. So we're a part of the problem, I guess.
Yeah.
We're just people who think we can talk about whatever we want and hope people listen to it. But
That's the Forest Lake Morning Show, man.
that's the Forest Lake Morning Show. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, if you want to reach out to us individually or specifically to address anything, especially related to Kanye, we are here. You can reach out to us via DMs, comments, whatever.
You make this sound like it's a Kanye hotline.
No,
like,
it's not a Kanye hotline. But what I'm saying is, I want to let people know we're reachable for now until we meet Julia Greenwald.
there it is.
And Julia Greenwald takes us elsewhere. But we're people first before we're musicians, and I think that's something to be aware of. So express any thoughts, comments, questions, concerns. But at the end of the day, just be nice.
Be nice and
it
keep
that hard?
watching the Forest Lake Morning Show.
Is it hard to be nice?
It is.
You think?
Yeah. Also, stay tuned for music. Possibly coming in the next
2
couple
months.
weeks. 2 months.
Wait, what was the
2
time?
months.
Should we not be putting timelines on it?
There's no timeline.
What was the timeline you said?
There's no timeline. Thanks for watching.
What was the one you said?
A couple weeks.
Oh, a couple weeks. A couple weeks. Thank you for watching. As he said,
Yeah.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Brennan.
This is Forest Lake Morning Show. We will see you next week.
See ya.